got an opportunity with SNL, which was like wild. You know, you get flown out and they put you up like right next to Radio City, and the person comes on in and she's like, okay, so just gonna be about like 10 minutes and then, but just, yeah, we'll grab you. She comes back an hour later and she's like, hey, I'm sorry, we're a little bit behind. Should be another 5 or 10 minutes. Another hour and a half goes by. Right. And then they finally like, hey, so sorry. Like, we're going to go on lunch. Like, it'll be about an hour and a half. 2 minutes later, they're like, okay, yeah, we're ready for you. And then, you know, you go out there. I walk out the door and it's where the host is every single week. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm on the stage of that. And I slated my name and then did my 5 minutes. And like, I heard laughs, you know, it was either laughs or like my foot hitting the wood. And like, that was the noise I heard, but I'm pretty sure I heard laughs. And
Lauren is just like in the back
Lauren's
in the shadows.
Like, Lauren's like right in the corner here eating popcorn. And I'm like, okay, like, I think I made him laugh.
Hello and welcome back to Comedy Means Business. It's February 9th and today we're spotlighting a great story of redemption. My guest is Michael Strassner, an actor, comedian, and writer who nearly a decade ago faced a tough double blow, getting booted from the groundlings over his drinking and narrowly losing out on a spot on Saturday Night Live. Of course, the loss was the kind that would leave anyone reeling, and ultimately it led Strassner to attempt suicide. But in the aftermath, he made the most important decision of his life: to get sober, commit to his mental health, and start over. Committing to this path led him, some years down the line, to the best year of his life with the Baltimorons, a scrappy, deeply personal indie that wouldn't exist if not for the painful experiences he endured. Following an unexpected Christmas Eve connection between a Baltimore dentist and a down-on-his-luck comedian who ends up in her chair, the film won the Narrative Spotlight Audience Award in its South by Southwest premiere and has slowly but surely found its audience in the months since. Marking 8 years of sobriety in January, Michael sat down with me to discuss the origins of this collaboration with filmmaker Jay Duplass, the highlights of his journey with the film, and where he wants to take his career from here. Michael, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to chatting with you today.
Yeah, so we just met for the first time at Sundance. You were there with this film, The Musical. Can you talk, how was the experience? It was your first Sundance, right?
First Sundance, super fun. I was happy to get at least one Park City in while I was there. Or while it was there, sorry. And it was great. You know, I was fortunate enough to get to be in Giselle Bonilla's movie, The Musical, which was like super fun with Rob Lowe and Gillian Jacobs and Will Brill and Alex Heller, who wrote it. And it was really fun to be in the Eccles and to like hear the laughter in that. And fortunate enough too to have Jay there with his movie, See You When I See You, and also got to see his, which was really great. And yeah, it was a good time. A good time to be in Park City. One last ride.
Very good. Well, the film we're here to talk to you about today more so is The Baltimorons, which is this unlikely indie success story. It was a film made for what, $400,000?
I think
something
about
like
that. Yeah,
less than $1 million.
Yeah.
It's up for the John Cassavetes Award, which recognizes like indie films made for very cheap. And this is a great example of that. It's a film that's as entertaining or more than any I've seen in the last year, and I was really amazed by it. What did recognition mean for you as far as the indie spirits?
Well, I remember driving in the car with Jay during pre-production in Baltimore, and he just was like, you know, this movie will the goal would be to get the John Cassavetes Award, and I was like, oh man, like that.
He knew exactly what he wanted.
He knew exactly what he wanted, and like wow. We are, you know, the Cassavetes Award goes up to $1 million, and we weren't super close to the million side. We were more close to the lower side. And, you know, to get to be nominated for an Independent Spirit Award is like on, you know, my first feature ever with Jay, who like is the, in my opinion, like the king of independent cinema and like creating these things. You know, I mean, if I'm a voter, who else am I going for here? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that,
no,
but
100%.
You know, I mean, it is really, really cool to, and on top of it all, to have Liz get nominated for breakthrough performance, like at, you know, a woman that is her age getting that is like the biggest, and also like 1 million times deserved. Like she truly is.
It's extraordinary.
She's a powerhouse in the movie, and like to finally get her flowers, it is so deserved, so earned, and you know, she's definitely got my vote. So I'm super excited for her and for the movie. You know, it's this little movie that could. And we got to shoot it all around Baltimore in my hometown. And it was really like a true independent movie where labor of love for sure. And like all our locations were like from family and friends, you know, like my dentist, or not my dentist, my biology teacher who became my dentist. He had a dental office because he was tired of teaching kids like me. And I was like, hey, can we possibly shoot a movie here on the weekend? And he was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to make a movie. And I was like, yeah, you can be a dental consultant on this. And that's like, I don't know, it just felt truly independent throughout. And then to get picked up and distribution from independent film company, you know, IFC is the best. So what do you think it was about this film that's cut through the noise? I feel like it's had a nice trajectory. It's kind of built gradually over time over the course of the year following South by. You know, you've traveled around with the film. What are you seeing in terms of why it's resonating with people? I think it's resonating the most with people because it's a human story. You know, it really is about two people finding each other on a Christmas Eve night. And I think it's resonating with audiences because it's a really fun comedy, and it's fun to sit in a movie theater and to laugh with other people and to feel that, you know, to feel strangers laugh during all this chaotic time. I think it's hitting, you know, and it's really cool that we premiered at South by, and then won the audience award there, and then went on to win like, I think 6 or 7 audience awards after that. And then, you know, getting to come out in September and have a premiere out of Idiots and have another premiere in Baltimore at the Senator, and, you know, sell out these shows. Like, I think people were really excited for an independent movie that was, you know, that was really entertaining. And I think that's kind of sometimes the hardest thing to do. And I'm just so proud of it. And it's been the best ride of my life, truly.
Walk me through the beginnings of this. As I recollect, it began with like a DM, right? Which is a fun way in.
Like every relationship post 2020.
Exactly.
You know, I saw Jay Duplass was following me one day, and I've been following him for years. And I was like, holy shit, Jay Duplass follows me. This is the coolest thing in the world. And I was. How
did that happen?
I was putting up dumb comedy videos like Buffalo Bill talking to his Alexa. So I'd be like, Alexa, where can I buy skin? And I'd be like dancing to Goodbye Horses, and I had like a pink robe on. And then the Alexa would chime in and be like, you can get skincare products. And I'm like, no, human skin, Alexa. and then I would just keep dancing to Goodbye Horses. And Jay's whole feed is like all comedy videos. He just wants to laugh while he's on Instagram. And he one day followed me, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, I've been a fan of his for forever. And I just sent him a DM. I was like, hey man, you may or may not read this. I'm a ginormous fan of you and Mark's work. And, you know, I love what you guys do, and I love how you do things independently. I have a short film that I'm looking for an actress for. Is there any way you could possibly help me try to reach out to one for me? And he got back to me 6 months later, and he was like, dude, I'm super old. I don't understand how Instagram works. And he was like, send me the script. And then he was like, I sent him the script, and then he was like, come over to my house. I have notes. And I'm like, I am a stranger from the internet, and you want me to come over to your house? And so this is a little side story, but I'm constantly sweating in my car everywhere because I don't have AC and I live in LA, which is not good. And so on my way over to his house, I like have my shirt off and I'm just sweating in the car. And I always have a backup shirt in the car that I wipe my body off with when I stop at the place where I'm going. And I stopped, and I guess I was making too much noise out there, and I was shirtless, and Jay was like, Michael? And I was like, hey bud, yeah, I'm just wiping off real quick, coming in a second. And he was like, oh my God, that's incredible, come on in. He helped me with the script. I shot the short film, then I got notes on it, because he was like, come back over, I have directing notes. And this is the thing that gets me, that is like so crazy, is that like Jay took time out of his day to help out a stranger. Like, that's true kindness that like you don't usually see in this industry.
The spirit of Sundance, for sure.
Truly, you know, and that's why I say like he is Mr. Independent, you know, and even the way we shot Baltimorons, like it's very much like Cassavetes style, you know, it's documentary style where like you almost don't even think the cameras are here and it's just watching two people.
Do you feel like he just gets excited and he just takes inspiration? He sees something and he's just like, wow, there's something here. Is that kind of the gist like of the situation here?
So after the whole short film thing, I took him out as a thank you and I told him a little bit about my story and how I got sober. And like 5 months after that, he called me and he said, I want to back in someone's life and do a movie. You're the first person that came to mind. Do you want to do it? And I was like, what? Like, you want to shoot a movie with me? Like, that sounds kind of crazy. He's like, yeah, I know. Do you want to do it? And, you know, he was just like, I want to make an unstoppable movie. I haven't directed a movie in 14 years at that time. And like, I know how to do that. I want to go back to like my puffy chair days and make something that, you know, is just about kind of someone's life and what they're going through and what they went through. And the best way through that in my opinion and his opinion, I think, is like through comedy, you know, finding the funny parts in those stories. And I think he thought I was funny on Instagram and he's like, okay, I don't know if he can act, but we'll see what he can do. And it was just the coolest thing in the world, truly.
Well, I want to tackle your story sort of in a non-linear fashion because a good chunk of it is like addressed in the movie. But first, just like right before this movie, like what did the grind look like for you? Like what were your ambitions creatively before this film? And like what were you kind of aiming for in terms of a professional trajectory?
Oh, I mean, well, I moved out here in 2012, I graduated from University of Maryland. And then I was like, I want to follow my heroes. I want to be like Chris Farley and Mike Myers and Bill Murray. And when I got here, I was like, well, they all went to Second City, so that's not really out here. What other place could I do? And I ended up going to the Groundlings because I was like a huge Will Ferrell fan and Kristen Wiig and Phil Hartman. And so I started taking classes there. And then, you know, I started to get like small roles. Like I was up like.
Didn't you play? You were Nick Ron Swanson's brother.
That was my first role ever.
I went back and saw that. I'm like, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that was your first role.
I played Ron Swanson's brother, Vaughn,
from Parks and Rec.
From Parks and Rec, wow. And it was the coolest thing because
my
first scene ever was with Nick Offerman, Chris Pratt, Adam Scott, and I was like, this is insane. And then they brought me back for the finale, and which is so cool now looking back. Like in the finale, the last scene is with Nick, and his parents are extras at the end there. Wow. So it's just kind of a little Baltimorons-esque because my first thing had my mom and dad in it, which is super cool. And what was so funny was Miss Offerman. She was like, well, just stick with it. You know, it took Nick a long time to get this, you know, because I think he got Parks and Rec. Well, like
Megan Mullally, you mean?
No, he was. I mean, Parks and Rec. I think he got when he was like, you know, in late 30s, early 40s. Right. But he was doing independent movies. Like I remember seeing him in Wrist Cutters and like loving that movie. Yeah. And he had like a small little part in that. But he just kind of continued to like hustle on. And I think that's like the true grind is, you know, you just. I mean, I think Denzel Washington said it, but like you stick around the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. And I haven't gotten a haircut in a while, but you know, I think that's true with this is like, you know, I did like a small little role in Life in Pieces and then a small little guest star on Modern Family and just kind of like moving around and doing all that. And then got an opportunity with SNL, which was like wild.
Right. Talk about that. Cause like, that is a central component of this story. I mean, you take loose inspiration, I guess, and recontextualize it a little bit in this film. But talk about that because that's kind of mind blowing, and so few people have that experience of like getting very close with SNL, and I'm very curious about that.
It was literally wild. Like this is when I was in Sunday Company, and we did a showcase at the Groundlings, and it was me and the rest of the cast, and 3 of us got flown out from there. And then it was kind of crazy. It was like, you know, you get flown out and they put you up like right next to Radio City and, you know, they give you a time, which I think was like 2:30. So I got there at like 2:00 and I'm sitting in the dressing room waiting and you can hear everybody's like, it's very thin walls in SNL. And I think they probably do that on purpose, but you can hear everybody's like stuff as they go out. and the person comes on in, and she's like, okay, so just gonna be about like 10 minutes, and then but just we'll grab you. I'm running my set. It's very physical, so I'm like doing my painter bit, which is gonna, I don't know if it's gonna hit or not. We'll see. It was a painter who paints to System of a Down, chop suey. So he's like, his head's just going everywhere and like painting. It's really dumb. But I was doing that over and over again. She comes back an hour later and she's like, hey, I'm sorry, we're a little bit behind. Should be another 5 or 10 minutes. Another hour and a half goes by running the set, because they're just trying to mess with you. They're just trying to see what's possible.
Right.
And then they finally like, hey, so sorry. Like, we're going to go on lunch. Like, it'll be about an hour and a half. 2 minutes later, they're like, okay, yeah, we're ready for you. And then, you go out there, and I can't remember what the guy told me, because I'm like, you're in all of like, how have I gotten here? This is where my heroes did it. And, they just were like, okay, walk out that door and then slate your name. I think that's what they said. But I walk out the door, and it's where the host is every single week. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm on the stage of that. And I slated my name and then did my 5 minutes. And like, I feel like I remember I heard laughs, it was either laughs or like my foot hitting the wood. And like, that was the noise I heard, but I'm pretty sure I heard laughs. And
Lauren is just like in the back,
Lauren's
in the shadows.
Like, Lauren's like right in the corner here eating popcorn. And I'm like, okay, like I think I made him laugh, and I felt pretty good about it. I went back to the dressing room and I was like, okay, yeah, that felt really, really good. Then I flew back to LA. I was like, okay, like we'll see what happens. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, I got a call from Lindsay Shukas, who was I think the head of the talent at that time. I was like, so we're gonna bring you back. We want all new material and just kind of like who you really are. And I was like, that was I mean, like, that was my best of. Like, you're not going to get much better than that. And I think I did, like, for that second one, I did, like, Oliver Platt, like, at Trader Joe's. Because I was like, well, no one knows what Oliver Platt sounds like, really. And I feel like no one's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's not Oliver Platt, because I don't do impressions or whatever. But looking back, I was like, I was so proud of, like, what I did. And I was like, you know what? Like, just to be one that got to go up and do that is crazy, Was it like the most nerve-wracking thing of your life? Like, I can't even imagine. Yeah, that was definitely top tier. I mean, well, because it's just like, I remember just going back and being like, well, they had me for a second callback. Like, I guess I'll probably live in Brooklyn, or I'll live, already kind of getting ahead of myself, because I was like, felt really confident about
You're going on Zillow or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I guess I'll it's only $5,000 a week, but I can get a 2-bedroom, right, in New York. And, it was just looking back on it. And
did you say it was like you and Heidi Gardner? That kind of contextualizes it.
Well, yeah. So Heidi and I were running our sets together, and it was like the most fun, like, truly ever. And she, like, I remember her doing her 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, you're gonna get it. Like, you're so good. Like, she was doing this, like, mom at a bridal, or mom at a wedding who, like, didn't want to dance. And it was just, like, so funny. And it's just, like, you see the character so well. And she kept being like, I'm not dancing. No, I'm not. And it was just, like, the funniest thing. And she also was, like, she is, like, the kindest person ever, and was just so supportive through that whole time. Like, we were on a text chain, and it was just really awesome.
How much sketch or improv training had you had at that point? Well, like, how deep did you go into that world before you were auditioning?
Probably, 2012 to 2017. So I think it was like 6 years of like improv. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's 6, but I'm not good with math. But yeah, 5 or 6 years of like intensive sketch.
Yeah.
Started out with improv, then went to sketch.
And what were the most interesting experiences in the groundlings world, and just like kind of honing your chops, I guess, in that world?
I really loved, there was a teacher that I had at groundlings named Karen Mariyama, who, she made me like the best, in my opinion. Like, I think she was really tough, but she was really awesome at like getting our best work out of us. And she's somebody that she was in the musical. We got to be in that together at Sundance. So that was super cool. But she is just such a force, and like I think of her as like the Del Close over there, and was just always so supportive and pushing us to like find new stuff. And, there was a 6 months of the Sunday company that we did that there was only 7 of us, and it was it was tough because it's like you were, we had 20 to 22 sketches a night, and I think I was in like 17 or 18 of them because there was only 3 of us guys and 4. Yeah, was that right? Yeah, 4 girls and 3 guys. Yeah, so it was like we were just turning and going, and that was something that that was one of the best experiences I had, was just getting to perform every night and finding new stuff and really challenging to create new characters and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so the 2 kind of major components of your life that found their way into the Baltimorons is that sketch background, a sort of falling out in that world, and that dovetails with SNL and kind of that experience of getting so close and losing that. Can we talk about those things? And I guess sobriety and mental health are obviously a big part of the movie. And it seemed like after you lost SNL and those things were all kind of coming to a head at the same time, around the same time.
Oh yeah. I mean, my drinking was really bad when I got back, because when I didn't get it, it was not great. And I came back and I did another 4 or 5 more months. And then that opening scene of the movie is how I got sober,
Right.
So, which I did that, and I reached out for help.
Can we say?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course. It was a failed suicide attempt.
Yeah.
And, it was really dark. I remember that the day before, we had a really bad, or I personally had a really bad pitch night. I came home, I drank some whiskey, and I woke up the next day, I turned my phone off, and I was like, I'm going to go see 3 billboards at Evening, Missouri, which if you're super depressed, don't go see that movie. And I had 2 Manhattans at the ArcLight, snuck some wine in. That was my MO. It was I was full-fledged. And then I remember just coming home that night and being yeah, I think the best case scenario would be to not be here anymore. And, thank God the next day I asked for help. And, a big proponent of the movie is what does early sobriety kind of look like with, what does life look like without the thing that you've loved so much for so long? Because alcohol, it did save my life for a long time. I felt free and all the things, and drugs as well. Part of my
kept you going. What do you think it was helping you? It
was dealing with childhood stuff, and with and finally feeling I'm not anxious anymore. I'm not, I feel relaxed, and I can. Oh, I'm so funny. I'm so funny when I'm hammered.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
Yeah,
it feels they're intertwined in a way that you can't separate.
Oh, I'm the life of the party.
Right.
Truly and it didn't matter what I said to anybody. And I felt truly free, and in reality, I was handcuffed, I couldn't not get through the day without drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And, wow. It's weird now because I just came up on an anniversary.
Right. 8 years, right?
8 years. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's really wild. It's I get emotional talking about it because it's it could have went a different way, and I might have missed everything, and not just not just the experience of making this movie. And I got engaged this year. That's come with sobriety, and that's been super magical and amazing. I never had a girlfriend when I was drinking. Nobody wanted anything to do with me, and now through this, it's just been really beautiful. And also, sorry.
No, I relate. I had one as well. I don't know if people don't know that, but yeah, right before I started working at Deadline, over 10 years ago. And it's yeah, all the things you would miss. It's I you feel at a certain point your life can't possibly get, it just won't get better.
Yeah.
And but now, and all the things I didn't think I could have, I have now. I've got a wife and I've got a daughter, and it's like I've got a great job, and so it's really, yeah, I relate very much that it's cool to be on the other end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're almost blind, or at least I was blinded by like, I was so afraid, like frightened of what my life would look like without drugs and alcohol. Like, I'm not going to be funny. I'm not going to be interesting. I don't think I can do comedy anymore. I don't think I can act anymore. Like, I don't think I can write. And people would, and I remember early on, just somebody would be like, okay, but like, why don't we just worry about, so I'm so corny, but like, let me just worry about today. Like, let's just be a January 30th guy, whatever that is, you know? And it's been so helpful now to be able to deal with that. And then also like that, all that stuff is not true, you know, which is what the movie is as well. But like, you know, and this is just crazy. Like I've got like, I get magnets from everywhere I go in the US and the world.
Okay.
And like my fridge is covered in magnets. And it's also just a sign of like, and it's all throughout sobriety. I never did that before I got sober. Mm-hmm. And like, just to even look at the fridge every day and be like, and again, I thought about it this morning. I was like, wow, look where you've been in 8 years. Like, it's very wild.
A lot can happen.
A lot can happen if you stick around and you ask for help. You know, that's the main thing. Is I was so afraid of like what other people are going to think, and you know, will people be all these people? And also, it's like no one's thinking about you, bud. Like in the like, it's like everyone's worried about them. Like, you know,
absolutely.
Just try something different. You know, be open minded. And
so, how long did it kind of take to come out of the state you were in, and like, were there certain moments along the way that felt meaningful in terms of getting toward a better place?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't have insurance at the time, which is something that in sobriety, I'm like, I have insurance. Like, that's really good. Like, you should have insurance. But I couldn't go to rehab. So that was just not on the table. So I just went to a 12-step place. And that kind of started my journey. And like, I remember that, you know, I was really sad the first couple weeks, like, and angry and all the things. And like, I remember like maybe like 40 or 45 days in, I went to a meeting and I just heard this speaker, like, who I'll always remember. He was so funny, and he was so like, just had this like glow about him. And I was like, man, this guy must be like he wasn't, he just was a really funny guy. And the room erupted with all the jokes and like, and that's when I was like, oh, like I can have a lot of joy in my life. And, you know, and to be honest with you, like, there has been, I can't even name how many moments in the last 8 years that have been such like beautiful present moments of just life, you know. And it's the small stuff for me. Like I look at a sky that's like super beautiful and pink and blue, and I'll just be like, thank you. Like, thank you for letting me be here, you know, which is so corny or whatever. Like, I never would imagine that was like what my life is now. But like, even like having my mom at South by, you know, like, she's in the movie and she's sitting, Jess, my fiance, is sitting next to me, and my mom is right next to her, and my sister's next to my mom, and like, just having that is awesome. But then my mom forgot she was in the movie. So like, we're watching the movie together and my mom comes on screen.
Where is she in the movie?
She's at the very beginning. So we're like 6 minutes in, and I just hear, so she comes in the hall, out the back door, and she just goes, she's like, you guys coming in or what? That's like her big line. And she sees herself on screen and she goes, oh! And like, she jumps back, and I'm like, Mom, did you forget you're in the movie? Like, what are you doing? She goes, I just can't believe I'm on the big screen, you know? And it was just like such like a moment that I'll like always remember. And like, to see like, and then that gets me again, is like, to have that premiere at South by, to hear all the laughs, to like, to watch that, like every time I went to a festival this past year or was in the movie theater where the movie was playing or the premiere or anything, people were like, do you sit and watch the movie? I always watch the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just reminded of like if it didn't go the other way.
It must be so affirming to be going out to all these festivals and having people respond to it the way it is, because it's kind of like there is a fictional component for sure, but it is your story. So
yeah, I never hooked up with a dentist.
Yes, for sure.
That is fictional.
Yeah.
But no, it's been like to have strangers come up to me after a screening and tell me that, you know, they lost somebody to suicide, or like, you know, I've had like, and they just hug me. It's just like, that's the connection that is just so beautiful. That is like what movies can do, you know, what art can do when you can literally have the lowest moment of your life be turned into something really beautiful. Useful, helpful.
Because hopefully someone will see it and it'll affect them in that way, or it reaches somebody in a place you were once at and it can kind of communicate. Like, I think, yeah.
And I've had friends that I didn't even know that they struggle with mental health, and they reached out and they're like, yeah, I have one. And it's like, man, like, I didn't even know you were, and he was like, I don't like telling anybody. And it's like, you know, it's important to, it's still a huge, the statistics are still there, you know, and it's like, you don't have to do that.
And the world is difficult right now. It's like, it's
very difficult.
Yeah.
And you feel like there's no hope, you know?
Yeah. But casting a light on it is part of the healing, I guess. In that regard, like, what was it like? So you meet with Jay and you agree to work together. Like, what going into this writing process, what is that like? You're kind of like reopening a wound in one respect.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just kind of was like, I'm open to talking about any of this stuff, and like whatever we want to put in, I'm game. And he wanted to put in actually like the leather seats in the car and the shirt thing, but we were shooting in Baltimore, like just being sweaty in the car. He wanted that scene in somewhere, but we were shooting in Baltimore at Christmas, so we couldn't fit that anytime. Yeah. But you know, he was just like, we're gonna go for it and such. And like the movie, even, you know, the first, we had a whole different opening of the movie, like a day before we were about to shoot it. We were about to shoot this different opening, and Jay was like, I just don't think it works. I think it's in our best interest to cut. I think we open up with the suicide scene. And I was like, oh wow, okay. Like, he was like, just trust me on this. And I was like, I trust you throughout the whole thing. And I really did trust him with everything, because I have loved his work for years, but also getting to know him as a human being. I feel like I have like this new guy that is like not only a mentor, but like a best friend, and a, you know, someone's just like constantly rooting for you. And he was rooting for everybody on that set. You know, there is a funny story. When we were shooting that opening scene, you know, everyone's really quiet. Like, it's an intense moment, you know?
Yeah.
And, the stunt coordinator was like, wow, what kind of idiot couldn't kill himself this way? And I was like, that's me, bud, right here. And like the whole crew laughed, and like Jay was like, yeah, I don't think Rick knew the the origin story of this whole thing. Rick Kane was an incredible stunt coordinator and just a really awesome guy. But he, it was just like a fun moment there that, like, you know, I know that if you can get to the underside of your pain, there's humor and laughter there, in my opinion. And, you know, I feel like when I was drinking, I would just take myself so seriously, and like, these are really like, and dramatic and all this stuff. And it's like, you know, the way we open it is like, yeah, it's very serious. And then it ends where you hear laughter. And like, that's what we kind of always wanted throughout, is like, okay, we're going to talk about some we're going to hit some serious subjects, but like the way in is through humor, you know?
This is a through and through Baltimore movie with all these like source locations, people doing favors. How did you want to kind of depict the city? Like what kind of portrait of Baltimore did you have in your mind as the backdrop, as a character in the piece?
I mean, we just, I would go home every year and be like, all my dad's buddies were like, you ever gonna make a movie about it? You're gonna cast in a good light? Because, everybody knows it for like The Wire and such, which is, again, a wonderful show. It's incredible. But I think the people of Baltimore are like, we really want, if you're gonna do a movie about us, can you just please like show how great we are too? Because, Baltimore's like every other city. Every city has everything, and I really wanted to show, and Jay wanted to show, just like the amazing human beings that are there. And, the main story is about two people who are strangers that find each other, two Baltimore people. And I really think the movie would not be anywhere without the people that literally like helped us be extras, come in and let us use all their places. My mom's buddy at work had a Mercedes, and my mom was like, hey, can Michael borrow the Mercedes? He's shooting a movie. And Chuck was like, yeah, sure. How long? And I was like, well, like a month. And he goes, yeah, I'll walk to work. It's all good. And like, that's the kind of like love and like joy that place has. And like, and to cast somebody like Liz too, who like, I mean, she was not Baltimore, but she's like Pennsylvania, so she's close. Sure. She just was so like, I don't know how Jay did it, but he just found me and he found her and he put us together, and also like
incredible chemistry. It's really wild.
We didn't chemistry read. We didn't do any, like, it's all Liz. Like Liz is, I'm not sure, but she's just such an amazing actress who's been doing it for 40 years. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world to see someone like her, who is not only an amazing actress, but like kind, open-hearted, vulnerable. The real journey she goes on in this film, from like being so pissed off with me and like, God, this freaking guy, to like where she goes, is like a full journey. And I don't think many actors could pull that off as well as she did. Because I don't think anyone could pull it off as well as she did. Truly, she is the best, and she's my forever bestie.
How did the whole fictional part of this, the dentist love affair storyline, come into it? Like, where did that come from?
Well, I did have an affair with an orthopedist. No, just kidding. Honestly, Jay, we wrote down all the locations that we had for free in Baltimore, and Jay has always wanted to do this. He always had this idea of like someone having to get emergency dental service on a vacation and being away from his family, because it happened to his mom on a trip one time. So he kind of just like came up with, it's all Jay, the dentist aspect of it all. And and then we just were like, I think he was like, I think it's going to be an older woman, and it's going to be this little May-December relationship, but a different one that we feel like we haven't seen yet.
Take me into the creative process, like as far as the writing. I mean, you have all these conversations, but like I really want to know, like, and what are some of the lessons you took away from watching him and the way he operates as a storyteller?
Well, it was extremely intimidating to literally drive over to his house or the production house and have writing meetings with him, because I was like, how is this a thing? Like, how am I going to meet with him and I'm going to pitch ideas back to him and like we're going to make this together? Like, but he is such a guy that like, there's no bad ideas. And that's what I found was like, when we were writing back and forth, like we would just be truly like coming up with different, funny lines here and there, but like really like, and this is what I think is what I learned so much from, is like, he is a story genius. Like he knows how to make really great movies and like have a beginning, middle, end. And then the rest is like all filled in. And I think like doing that 24 hours, like it puts us at a place where it's like, okay, like we're going to watch these people for a day and see what journey they go on. And like, we were like, we have a tow lot. So I guess
Oh, that's such a great part of the movie. Man.
his Cadillac will get towed, and we actually didn't have a boat. We didn't have one. We didn't have a crab boat or anything.
I'm forgetting. What was that for?
When we steal Conway's boat,
Okay,
Conway the crabber, who was
Right.
Dee Dee's ex-husband. We just but Dave Bonnet, who is our incredible producer, he was like, well, hold on, let me see if I can get a crab boat. Let me just make a call. Makes a call. He's like, we got a crab boat on Thursday, and it's like, what? But we went out at freaking, I think that shoot, we were on the water at like 4 a.m. Baltimore, 10 to 15 degree weather. Everyone couldn't have been happier to be there. This crew and cast, like, that's why I'm like, this is a Cassavetes movie, truly. Like,
Did you walk away with some kind of new skill set as far as like producing and everything? Because you got to go through this whole
100%.
journey?
Like, I think the thing I learned I learned a ton of writing from Jay. Like, I feel like I got a master's class in writing, and even like, he let me sit in on like all the edits and, seeing his notes on stuff and just seeing like how he direct. I got a master's class in like learning that. And, but in producing, like, it truly was just ask. The worst thing anyone's going to say is no, or maybe F you, no, but like, just ask. You never know what people are going to say. And I think for independent movies, people are, at least in Baltimore, very open to helping out and making your little movie come true.
It's so crazy. I marvel at his films and his brothers, because it does feel like some kind of magical alchemy. Like, I don't know. I just don't get how they do what they do. How they construct story. It's a
beautiful
cool
thing. And like, they're really like, they got some, I mean, they make some magical eggs in the morning. He microwaves eggs, and that's what we ate. And I was like, this is not great, but he's like,
eggs.
Yeah, but he's just like, you know what? It takes too long to do it in the pan, and we got to write. So like, I'm going to microwave these for 30 seconds, and you're going to a little salsa, and you'll be enjoying it. So like, that's what we do.
And so with the release, you just went around and did a ton of Q&As and tried to build like word of mouth, essentially?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was basically, and like IFC, we found the best partner with. Truly, like, they got us, they said a minimum of 100 screens is what we started out with. And by the second weekend, we were in 500. And that's incredible for a movie that, Jay has said doesn't have any stars. It was this little movie that could, and we went on the road. So we premiered in New York in 4 screens, and we sold out every single Q&A that we had, which was like incredible, just to like, and also a ton of people, like we had David Krumholtz and we had Rich Roll, like, and we had Jeff Hiller and Bridget Everett and Murray Hill, Showbiz.
Come out to like help promote it, that sort of thing?
They'd be moderating it.
Okay.
And like, I really think the future of independent films is truly like this type of,
community.
Yeah. And then we went to LA, Tim Bagley and Amanda Peet and my buddy Evan Williams and, at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, Melanie Lidsky, and they all just came out and like helped us moderate these Q&As. And I think it brought more people's eyes on it, and I think it truly was like, we sold out Century City twice on a bunch of screenings, and like, it was all just word of mouth, and then just truly hounding my Instagram feed for to be like, go see this movie in theaters, and like getting to be on the Daily Show with Desi was like the coolest thing in the world. And that was like another initial DM where,
oh wow,
yeah, I was friends with the director, or I saw the director followed me, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna send a DM.
A director on the
Daily Show. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And David, he was...
So you're doing it all yourself. You're not having like a publicist reach out to the Daily Show.
There was an incredible publicist at IFC who definitely helped get us a lot of things as well as there's plenty of, and Emma and Sierra as well, and Adam, they also help with publicity as well. Very
Adam
much
Kirsch?
so. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
They were huge helps as well.
Yeah, fair. But
yeah.
there were also like, I don't know, pulling every string possible to...
Well, it's like the producer thing, it's just like, how can I, like, the worst thing anyone's going to say is no. And I learned that from my initial message to Jay was, hey man, I'm just, a fan. And I think when people follow you, sometimes they're also fans of you. So like they kind of want to help out.
So do you feel like this whole journey recontextualized your whole story and everything negative you went through? Like like how did you find a sort of healing in this process?
Oh my God. I truly feel like that's the best thing that ever happened to me, was going through all that. My sister sent me something today where it's like, you got to go through a lot of dark to get to the light. And this movie has been a huge light. And this whole experience has been the biggest light of my life. And there was a lot of darkness to get there. And, it really is like, it's the coolest life. I wouldn't trade what happened, what happened for me, to be honest with you. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me. And it's the craziest life, and I love it. And there's a ton of light now in my life.
So are you approaching things now as sort of like a self generator? Like it kind of feels like you almost have to at this point in entertainment, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think if you're not making your own stuff, like, good luck. And that's everything. Like if you have a short film idea, shoot it. Like, and shoot it. If you're shooting a short film, don't shoot a $60,000 one. Like go as low as you can, make the thing and then make another one and keep doing that.
It's funny because like when I would try to do that early on in my creative life, I just felt like it's not good enough if it's not a certain level, but it's like he embraced the opposite with like the first shorts he made.
This is John. They shot on a, they said it's a $3 short film.
It's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and again, like I'm not in the results business. Like I just want to know, like I just want to do the work and then whatever comes from it, and it's kind of crazy because, what I always wanted was like SNL and doing that. And like this, if I can just get back to that, this has been a million times better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you created something for yourself instead of waiting for some platform to give you the shine. And at the end of the day, it's like a lot of those platforms don't even really meaningfully give you much of a boost at this point. It's kind of like
you could be one and done.
Yeah, easily.
And one and done, and then be on to something else that's even better as well. That's my thing too, is like, I have so many friends that did it and had an okay time, and now they're on to something else. And like, I just think it's, you really have no idea what's next. But, if you just do the next indicated action with everything in your life, I feel like because I've put in my sobriety first, everything else has kind of fallen into place.
What is that next thing for you? Like, what are you focusing on now?
Got a couple things cooking. I've got a couple things with my buddy Evan that I'm really excited about.
Actor, filmmaker type?
Yeah, actor, writer, those type of, and filmmaker. And then, whenever Jay calls, I'm there always. He is my mentor and hero and everything, and he's made this whole thing happen for me. So
right on.
Yep.
Well, I can't wait to see what the next thing is. Love this film so much. Thanks for taking the time to talk, Michael.
Of course. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.